most expensive structure for a plant to create is the fruit. We don't have to do this. We've done it before. We're going to skip that for time purposes. When a plant creates a fruit, it hides the fertilized ovules, which are now seeds, inside an enticing tree. Okay, so the hope is that, okay, you've got this fruit, okay? An animal is going to eat that fruit. The seeds are in the inside. When the animal eats that seed, what happens to those seeds?
Well, they get
digested.
Right, and then what happens to it essentially? Go ahead.
Gets put out in manure.
Yes, it turns to poop, okay?
And then it
And then that's fertilizer for that seed, goes into the dirt, grows a new plant. So that is actually the reason why that fruit is so, pretty, if you will, kind of has that attractive outer covering and so sweet, but the seeds are hidden on the middle. So when an animal eats it, that it's like automatically, does the fertilizing and everything for it, and then that seed can grow into a new plant, which is what we just did together instead of you doing it by yourself. This is animal dispersal. Animals eat the sweet fruit, including the seeds. The seeds travel through their digestive tracts. The seeds will exit the animal in the feces. The seed can then grow, having been moved away from the parent plant, which is the ultimate goal for the plant. What might explain, I think this is interesting. The answer is about the, you already can see it on yours, I don't know.
No.
What might explain why watermelons have mature black seeds and white seeds? Why are there both seeds? Anybody have a guess? What do you think, Gunnar?
The white seeds aren't mature.
Okay, so what does that mean?
They weren't as full grown.
Sure. Yeah. Okay. Not all of the ovules were fertilized with pollen. The white seeds are actually still ovules, so they have not grown into grown-up seeds, if you will, because they haven't been fertilized. A double advantage. Fruit are able to meet requirements 3 and 4. Seed require dispersal. When animals eat fruit, the seeds are dispersed to new places. It's the whole purpose. A double advantage. Seed can germinate. You need to know this word. Germinate means to sprout. So like you'll have a seed, they'll have just like a little green little bit coming out the top. That is sprouting. It sprouts in good soil. The fruit that is uneaten drops to the ground and rots. So even if it's not eaten, it still then decays and becomes part of the dirt and then actually fertilizes the soil and makes the soil better for the next seed that comes along. This adds nutrients to the soil so the baby plant will need. This is really the best a plant can do for its offspring. Okay, plants are organisms that lack locomotion. What is locomotion?
the ways of movement.
Movement. That plant can't move like we can. I mean, technically it can grow towards the sun or towards a stimulus, or the wind may have an effect on it. But it can't, get up and walk around. Okay? They cannot move from place to place. Asexual reproduction is possible, but not the most favored. They want that pollination from 2 different plants, not the same one. There is no genetic variation when it is just the parent plant making a copy of itself. If that plant is diseased in some way, what's the offspring going to be? Diseased. If it gets with another plant that is not diseased, there is a chance that the offspring won't have that same disease. There's no genetic variation between the parent plant and all the offspring. Plants can reproduce sexually, but need outside help. That's where they need those something to help it get pollinated, whether it's insects or wind or water. An example of germination is getting pollen to the stigma, getting pollen to an ovule, dispersal of seeds, sprouting of a new plant. You got it. Sprouting of a new plant. Oak trees are distributed throughout the U.S. and Canada. Oak trees are pollinated by wind and create acorns as their seeds. This strategy is a heavy energy burden, has been a successful strategy for oaks, has been an unsuccessful strategy for oaks. No way to know.
And they should be successful since they're still around.
Sounds reasonable to me. It's working for him. Yes, sir.
Well, there's an oak tree way back up in the woods,
Mm-hmm.
and its limbs are probably about as big as round as the oak tree in this photo.
Well,
the limbs.
and not to say that, yes, it's worked, but that's not to say that they still can't get disease. I thought that's what you were going to tell me. Because there are some trees that are more prone
And
to
it
disease.
looks somewhat diseased, but it's so big.
That it's not going to kill it, yeah, for a long time anyway. Look at the pictures of the pomegranate fruit, flower and fruit. Which statement is true? Fertilized by wind, dispersal by wind. Fertilized by insects, dispersal by animals. Fertilized by water, dispersal by wind. Fertilized by insects, dispersal by wind. What do you think, Briley? That only makes sense to me with all those seeds in the middle. You've got the pretty flower on the outside, which the insects are going to want. The real juicy, sweet fruit, which the animals are going to want. Yes?
Whenever you would talk about like trees that have like a disease,
Mhm.
my dad said that 2 trees in our front yard, and then inside they were like red,
Yeah.
and it was like one of them had it all over it. Like we even like cut down little pieces like the stump, and it was still there. But the other one, it only had like the smallest spot of it.
It could be like a fungus even. I mean, there's no way of
That's what
knowing.
my mom said.
Okay,
it was.
probably. That makes the most sense. And sometimes fungus can harm a plant and sometimes it doesn't. It depends on the kind that it is. So it may have been something that, they could have lived together and it not hurt each other. But some of them are, destroy the plant. Yes.
Carson, what was those one things called that we throw at each other at Will's house?
Oh, walnuts.
Walnuts.
Oh, yeah.
They
Yeah.
stain your hands.
Bad.
Yeah.
Like
Yes.
I went to Will's house yesterday, and Carson, we were throwing walnuts at each other.
Uh-huh.
So my hands were all stained.
And it almost has to wear off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know how your hands are stained right
Yes.
now still.
You know those spiky things that we showed up on the top side that stick to you?
Yes.
Your clothes?
Uh-huh.
Our mom's engine shut down, or she had to get in for a car and we were on the side of the road. It was Andy on Austin's birthday.
Uh-huh.
We found some, we were just throwing at each other.
Yes, Connor.
That tree is so big though,
Uh-huh.
that it has like
It made
a
us
thin,
bleed when
like
we
feet radius of like nothing. 'Cause
Really?
it shades out
Yeah,
everything.
Okay, so
right?
it's choked everything else
Yes.
out. Yes. Competition, which we're going to talk about soon.
The whole plant too.
That may be the last one. Yep, that's it for today. We got through 37. We'll have a worksheet tomorrow that goes over slides 120 to 137.